What is up, everyone? It is Nico and Darren here. And Darren, before I say anything, thank you for being on the show. I know you said it 2 seconds ago, but I have to be the one that says thank you first. It's not easy waking up and being on some random kids live. So I appreciate it. Darren, introduce yourself to my community.
No, man, thank you so much for having me. Nico, I know I found you on LinkedIn a while back, and we kind of started talking and jiving and things, just came into play. I watch a lot of your live broadcasts, and listen, if you can educate people, you can motivate people and inform people on a daily basis, like you really have been doing. And it's a unique feature that you have, man. Listen, I appreciate it, and I always want to be a part of it. So.
That's awesome, and I appreciate it. I think that's one way that's the one type of person I like to attract, and you're the same way. So before we jump into the stuff I really want to talk to, because uh, there's many avenues I want to go, whether it's content creation or what's actually happening in real estate today. Tell me the 90-second pitch of your history and how you got here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I started the mortgage business in February 2000. I was 20 years old, didn't have a pot to piss in, nor did I know anything about mortgages. And I just took off with it. I accelerated with it. I used a lot of, for what we had, a lot of the technology then, fax machines and computers and emails. I used a lot of that to help me grow my business and understand and educate myself on it. And, I just expanded my horizon. I went with it at a young age. I'm 40 years old now. And again, if you do the math, that's 20 years in the mortgage industry. And there's a lot of been ups and downs with it. We've had 9/11. We've had the internet boom, a war. We had 2007, 2008 when the economy crashed. And now we're dealing with coronavirus. So,
Mhm.
in all aspect, I'm the guy that's always available. You can always reach me at mrmortgageguru.com. You can call me at 844-7721. I'm always available. And definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mr. Mortgage Guru.
Boom.
But beyond that, man, I'm an educator. I'm here to help people. My clients love me. I have over 150 reviews on Zillow. I use that platform so people can understand. Listen, you're dealing with a real person. You're not
Yep.
dealing with, a guy who just cares about rate. If now's not the time to refinance or buy, I'll try to work with you to set you up for that time. And that means a lot to people. Why expand yourself today when you may be able to do better for yourself in a few months or even if it's a year? Time is what we have right now, right? So, setting ourselves up perfectly and not doing things in a fast
Hmm.
response, could be way detrimental for you, man. But that's my background.
Why do you emphasize being so available? Like why specifically? Because you and I both know people who aren't, right? It's very hard to reach some people, and that's why at the end of every show I'm like, listen, send me a direct message, send my guests a direct message, because I think most people don't. But why do you make yourself so available?
So this was me prior to the coronavirus. Obviously, we're way
Okay.
more available now. Before this even happened, I preach on getting my clients prepped and ready so that when they find the house, they can actually buy the house. It's
Hmm.
not a rate. It's not about putting in an application necessarily. It's not about the paperwork. It's not about handing the deal off to my processor or my underwriter and letting them run with it. So, like, being available all the time, whether it's text, email, call, it gives the borrower that feeling, that advantage that there's somebody else in their corner. It's not just the banker, car salesman type of
Hmm.
atmosphere. Okay, so like, you know, I could approve you for a mortgage, and let's just say for argument's sake, I tell you, and the other bank tells you you're approved for $200,000, right? But there's a key fact in there is what's the taxes. So each house is going to be different. So you may you may be able to afford it and you may get approved for a $250,000 house where the taxes are 5 grand, but now you want to buy a $280,000 house. Listen, if the taxes are 4 grand, you still may be able to buy it. So, I try to really harp on that, and it may not be a wonderful aspect and not something that everybody wants to hear in terms of banking, but I'm true to my word. Call me, email me, text me. It's my opening phrase. I'm here to get you prepped and ready so that when you find the house, you can actually buy the house, which makes so much sense. Can you imagine dealing with the big banks right now, like Chase, Bank of America, Citibank? It must be a complete nightmare, because those guys aren't on call. So yeah, you can go and shop and shop and shop for what? You may not ever get the results. You may not be able to close the loan. So with me, I think I give you just a little bit of an advantage, a little bit more education, and that's the thing, man. Being prepped and ready all the time.
That's it. That's it. No, it's true. And I think in a world where there's so many different competitive advantages, I'm always about the customer service because I think if you can spend the time and do that, right, that's where the best marketing comes from. It's referrals. So I'm gonna back it up a little bit. And you mentioned getting into the business in 2000. What's something that you wish that you could tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh my God. Save all my money and not spend it. I mean, listen, I went out and bought Porsches, Mercedes, BMWs. I lived in the 5,000 square foot home on the golf course. I bought the Rolexes. See, I don't wear a watch anymore. I mean, the trips are nice to go on, and I think that's what we save our money for right now. But saving, man,
Mm,
and the mistakes I made then, I owned 20 houses by the time I was 25.
wow,
Okay. By the time I was 35, I had a $4 million bankruptcy.
wow.
Okay. So you live and you learn, but 20 years old was a little different for me. I wasn't your unique or your normal 20-year-old. So when I was 20, all right, I was with my wife already. I was just about to get married. I got married at 21, so I've been married almost 18 years now, right? And my wife had a 10-year-old.
Hmm.
So I was 20, and I had a 10-year-old with me. So
Oh,
so again, my life was a little different than normal 20-year-old. So the advice, is just save, man. And
hmm,
I didn't have that advice growing up. My parents were divorced. My dad went one way. My mom went the other way. My grandmother basically, in a sense, raised me. No doubt
hmm,
about it. She was definitely the one that was looking after me and taking care of me. But one thing she didn't know how to do was balance a checkbook. Okay,
hmm,
she knew how to pay credit card all the time. Here's my credit card. So, when you learn that and you see that aspect of it, and listen, there's only a short amount of time, right, from when I graduate high school to when I got into the mortgage industry.
hmm.
So I did go to college for a little bit. I played some baseball, and that's my passion. I love baseball. It's 24/7 in my world. I can talk baseball all day. As soon as I get to work, I turn on the MLB channel.
Hmm.
All right, so I don't really follow politics. I don't follow really anything else in the world except for what I do, my family, and baseball, and I love it. But
So I'm guessing baseball cards with its new little spike in it. You're paying attention.
so listen, man. When I was 20 years old and I started making money in the industry, it took me some time. I bought so many baseball cards. I have a garage full of
Hmm.
baseball cards. I have so many baseball cards, I don't even know what to do with it. So I do hope it makes a comeback. I got a lot of autographs. I got a basement and a garage full of them. But yeah, spending, man. Spending was my worst habit.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It wasn't partying. It wasn't going out. It wasn't hanging out with friends. It wasn't that. It was literally spending. And I
Wow.
think primarily the reason why I spend so much is because I didn't have a lot growing up.
Yeah.
So I made up for it. And especially having a 10-year-old, you want to share that stuff with him, and my new wife at the time, and we just, we went overboard totally. So in 2008, when the market crashed, I had $50,000 a month in bills.
Wow.
Okay, so
Cool.
today I'm floating around the 4 to 7 mark. So it's way easier on my life right now with what's going on, and positive things happen to positive people,
Hmm.
right? And I can't tell you that I was so positive in my 20s, man. I was definitely naive, and I was a mean guy, man, and I thought I knew it all. And like any other 20-year-old, I didn't really take the advice that the elders gave me. But take the advice, save money, and listen to the people around you, man. Because now I'm 40 and I'm giving myself that same advice.
Well, that's why I bring it up because one of the biggest things that I've learned is and you have to go through that, right? Like you have to go through those little bumps to appreciate the advice that you're going through, right? Um, Now, I want to emphasize a little bit more on the fact that you are different in the sense that you're creating content, right? A lot of, I preach a lot of people need to start talking about content. And and inevitably someone in finance comes up to me and they say, sure, I can, but there's regulations in my industry and no one does it. And they have a whole thing lined up. You, on the other hand, Mr. I want to be your banker for life, um,
Exactly.
you're pushing that and you're actually creating content, interviewing people. So why content and why now?
So your banker for life was, you know how people on their signature put a referral is the best thing you can give.
Yes.
Like at the
Yeah,
end
what
of
to
their
say, yeah.
signature, it's some type of phrase like that, right? So I always said your banker for life. That was at the end of my signature, right? And then I spun it off to yourbankerforlife.com.
Hmm.
And I just felt like between me being always available, and people always having the ability to contact me, um, that spun off into that phrase and that
Hmm.
catchphrase. So um, to revert back to the content stuff. So doing nothing is the worst thing you could do.
Hmm.
So
Preach.
in September of last year, all right, I had a corporate sales summit meeting, and half the meeting was about social media, and I knew nothing about it. I did nothing about it. I was not on social media in September, but I had a vision and I had a direction, but I just didn't know where to start.
Hmm.
Right. So it started off with kind of, I don't want to say copying, but taking some other fresh ideas that people had and kind of spinning it off into my own little game and my own little way of doing things. I mean, and what happened was it became too much too quick. I had too many ideas all over the place. I wanted
Hmm.
to do this and wanted to do that. But the biggest thing was content. I ran out of content. So I didn't know what to do. So here I'm talking to guys like you and I'm talking to my real estate agents all day, every day, and that takes up a third of my day. So I said,
Oh,
you know what?
but
Let's start videotaping it. Let's start talking about what we do. Now, we don't have to put everything live. We don't have to run with all the content we talk about, but at least something,
hmm.
and maybe some examples. So it started that way, especially with the YouTube channel. And, it kind of kicked off. I went from 100 subscribers to 1,300, like within a month.
Hmm.
But the content is not only the most important thing, but it's also the hardest thing at the
Yep.
same time. And I guess that's why guys like you see a little bit of what everybody talks about, right? Where
Hmm.
like there's there's a million different angles and 1,000 different bankers, and who can you deal with and who's really right and it's a matter of who wants to listen, right?
No, it's absolutely right. So, how did you and I had I've had a couple of people in here, and one of my favorite questions is, do you remember your very first video? Your
So
there.
that's funny you say it like that, right? So I don't necessarily remember my first video, but I remember how we all started with it, right?
Hmm.
So there's an old expression in this business is that you don't have to be perfect, right, to have the content, right? And I think one of the bigger mistakes, not the biggest mistake, but one of the bigger mistakes that people make is that they try to be perfect with their content,
Hmm.
okay? And perfect background, perfect setting, perfect this, perfect that, whatever it may be. And by the time I try to figure out how perfect it wasn't perfect at all.
Yep.
But the first video I did was in the corner of my office. I took my camera, I laid it against, like the wall almost, putting it up, and I'm sitting there in the corner, and I did, here are some things that you shouldn't do while you're trying to refinance or buy a house, right? Don't have any big cash deposits in your bank account. Don't take on any new credit card debt. Don't make any large pop purchases. That type of thing. Don't quit your job. And it kind of just spin off into different, pop-ups while I'm saying it. This happened, and it just it it turned out to be not the greatest video. The sound and the video itself,
The
but
lighting, probably all the.
1,000%. But you know what it did, man? It educated me. It
Hmm.
allowed me to accelerate. And again, not every video you're going to do is perfect, and not every video that everybody else does is perfect, man. I see plenty of people walking in the background, and there's shit going on back there,
Hmm.
and they're sitting there with their camera. But I got a gimbal. All right. I bought myself a mobile Osmo. I went out and I invested some of my own money into making those things happen correctly and making them a little bit better, and the little things that you can enhance yourself with. And now what I do is when I'm doing the interviews, right, everybody wants more. What's next is the question. So Darren, what do we do now? Great. Now we edit it. We send it out to the universe. Right now the universe hears what we're doing. They're a partner involved in what we're doing, right? They like it. They share it. They subscribe. But at the end of the day, they want to know what's next.
Yep.
No doubt about it. And I'm not just talking about the consumer itself, because I'm not just trying to attract the consumer. I'm trying to attack that loan officer who may be unhappy at his bank. That realtor that may not have the direction on where to go in. Watch my videos, subscribe to my channel, and reach out to me so I can help you build your brand. Guys like yourself, Nico, this is what you do all day, right? But I have a job. I really work. I really am a loan officer, and for me to be on call all day and then still find time for this is amazing. But at the same time, this is a call and a meeting that me and you would have to have anyway, right? So, it kind of we get the best of both worlds.
And that's the whole perfection thing. I think is interesting, but you're absolutely right. It's putting it out there, and I've seen you do it, listening, because I've seen how you respond to comments and really engage the people, and then you thoughtfully think it through. So walk us through your strategy, right? Like let's say you want to put a video out tomorrow, today. What's that process to get the idea? Because I think the idea for most people are the hardest part.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So what I do is I read a lot on Einman and Bank. That may not be your go-to places for media and access, but they have very good articles that you could talk about with the world. Okay. So obviously the hot topic right now is virtual tours and virtual open houses. And I like to see what everybody's spin-off is on it. One guy does it completely different than the next guy. All right. Not everybody's going to be doing it the same. I saw a couple of articles yesterday how now the MLS goes up with the virtual tour right away. I mean, that's great for our industry. What it does is first of all, people won't get sick as much. I mean, going into people's houses. I mean, that's number one, right? But at the same time, it'll cut the fat off. People say, oh no, I don't like that, or that's not good for me, or that doesn't work, or why is that placed like that? And immediately the effects are rippled. So you just eliminate that. So that's one more house that you have the opportunity to go and see. Now, at the same time, there's not a lot of inventory right now. So, it's like a catch-22, right? There's your time, you have more time, but less inventory. So what are you doing with the rest of your time?
I think that's in most businesses right now. It's kind of like you have that kind of problem.
Sound.
Can you hear me? No. That's part of live then, right? Some days that just happens. That's the beauty of the live. You hear me now?
Is it me?
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, okay. Well, that's part of life. So, Darren, let's see what we can do. See, I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me. Hey, this is what happens in live, though. This is the uncut. This is the unedited. This is life. Yeah, still can't hear you. There, maybe. By the way, while Darren figures this out, if you have any questions specifically around what we're talking about, I forgot to say that earlier. Please ask them because that's why I bring on special guests like him, because gotta ask the subject matter experts about what they're up to. So, with that plug, I feel like a talk show host at this point. Gave the sponsorship.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay, I can't hear you through here anymore, but I can hear you through my computer. I don't know what just happened. That was
it's part of the game. It is part of the game.
Interesting. All right, well,
yeah, it happens. So, and actually, this is a really good point. You gave me a couple seconds to really just digest everything. When you're talking about working with others and what to do with this time, because actually a lot of people are back at home. how are you reaching? Because again, I'm trying to allude to the fact that you reached out to me and we engaged in a conversation, jumped on the phone, and then we're on live, right? So, what are you spending most of your time with now that there isn't as much inventory out there?
So I'm a banker, right? So we have the purchase market and we have the refi market, but our technology and our tools are amazing. And I know a lot of people say, "Hey, we got the best technology and we've been, we're mobile." But realistically, Total Mortgage has been telecommuting for over 3 years. All right. All of our processes and all of our underwriters are remote, and they have been. It wasn't just because of coronavirus. So I'm still working 12, 14-hour days like normal business. The only difference is that instead of being at my desk, I'm set up on my dining room table. But that's not what I'm trying to get to. So the fact that we're telecommunicating is amazing on my end. So the time I have Salesforce, I have people going to my website, I have people doing the YouTube. So when you say find time on the diversion of the inventory, I mean, I do, and I field. I mean, it must be a call a minute, at least. So like every minute of my day, my phone doesn't stop. So whether it's my cell phone, whether it's my desk phone, whether it's Salesforce, receiving the calls, it's an attack all the time. And we just say, keep pushing. We're doing push-ups in the background, getting these people pre-approved and stacking them up. So when the floodgates do open, they'll be ready. But at the same time, the technology part of it is it's implemented at such an early state of when you come on board. So for argument's sake, if you were a brand new loan officer here, right, you would get Salesforce, you'd get this program called Blend, and then anybody who knows about Encompass, it all integrates into one. So literally, when I say I'm mobile and I say I'm telecommuting, let me give you this visual. You ready? And this is pre-coronavirus. So I'm in the car driving to my meeting with a realtor, right? Let's say it's in New Jersey and I'm from Long Island, right? So that's about a 2-hour drive, right? I can take applications and phone calls on the road, pull over, input it, print a pre-approval through, from my laptop, right? Literally on the road, okay? Then get back on the road and continue my journey at my realtor's office. So it's not like I have to call that person back in 15 minutes, or 4:00 when my meeting is done. I'm literally doing it while I'm working. So having the ability to telecommunicate in my eyes, it saved me that time already. I mean, it was a no-brainer, and we can all say we're all working from home and we're mobile and we're telecommuting right now, but it's all because we got kicked out of our office, so just because you're set up at your dining room table, guys, that doesn't mean that you're mobile. I hate to say it. And it doesn't mean that your company's mobile either. And when I'm talking about the bigger banks, the big Chases, the Citibank, the Bank of Americas, there's no possible way that they could be running at 100%. Okay, when you have a company like Total Mortgage who's been totally telecommunicating for 3 years now, I mean, having that as an advantage is huge. And again, everybody says they're mobile now. Everybody thinks that they're in that factor, but there's so much more that comes with working from your dining room table, and it's not you personally. It may be the person on the other end. And I don't mean person, I mean like the processor, the underwriter, there's more, there's legal, there's closing. There's so many more departments other than me being the mobile guy taking that small little fraction of information, right? But still having the ability to do pre-approvals on the road. And literally, I press a button and they get the pre-approval. It starts off with my website. So you go to mrmortgageguru.com or you go to mrtotalmortgage.com. You fill out it takes 5 minutes, fill out a quick application. It costs nothing. Right away, I get an alert that you finished your application. I call you up, I pull your credit. Everything looks kosher after we review your application, which should only take a few minutes. And I hit the button, print pre-approval. From there, I can link you up with a real estate agent. Usually there's Zillow Premiered. And from there, you're finding a house, so whether you're looking for discount properties or you're looking for a house on the market to move into, I mean, it's really at a touch of a button now. At least for me, it is.
But that's good. I think we have to see technology as a way to a means, right? Like it's helping us to an objective. It's not the objective, right?
No doubt.
So getting towards the end of the show, what's one thing that you wish most people knew about the mortgage industry using technology, content, just anything that we've talked about? What's one thing if you could give them?
Definitely be educated by your banker. So like when somebody comes to me and they're like, oh, well, we've already been pre-approved. The first thing I say, well, what does your banker do for you? Well, he gave me a pre-approval. Okay, but what's he doing now? Nothing. Does he call you? Does he check in? Does he hook you up with a realtor to make sure you're looking at houses? No, but we're looking. When was the last house that you saw? Oh, a few weeks ago. So definitely asking those questions up front for me, gets people to understand the type of person I am and the type of banker I am. All right. But people should copy the type of style that I have. And
the norm, right? Like what people don't understand is what you're saying is will be the norm because people like you are going to do it, and then that's going to be the new bar.
Somewhat, but you can't do it all. And sometimes some banks itself, like Wells Fargo, they don't allow you to get involved with that back end scenario. So you're just pushing paper. You're just taking somebody's application and then you never touch it again. I follow you throughout the whole process. Okay, it's me, it's my team, and it's my bank that's constantly working for you on a day in, day out basis. So not only do I give you that pre-approval, I link you up with that realtor if you need. Okay, but then I'm constantly making sure that you're motivated. Okay, you're staying informed, you're staying educated, and those are the most important things in the industry right now. And does your banker do that? Or does he just give you a pre-approval and never talk to you again?
That's why we do these shows, because someone's listening and they're thinking through. So, my friend, I appreciate you for being on. I linked up the all the socials.
Awesome, man.
But what I want people to realize is whether it's conversations like these or other conversations, you really can build real relationships through digital platforms. We met on LinkedIn. We could have met on YouTube or whatever. So, but it takes initiative, right? So I want to commend Darren for reaching out, getting the conversation started, and look where we are today. So don't be afraid to reach out to me, to him, to the person that you've been wanting to reach out to for a while. One message. That's it.
Nico, you do a lot with the Boundless Media, man. You're really good at what you do. And you take your message and you attack it, you throw it out there, and if it doesn't in your mind trigger, not your mind, but my mind watching it, say, how does he do that? Or I want to be involved with it. You're not really in the aspect of social media. You're not getting it yet.
It's conversation, right? Like my thing is like, don't care about the likes, care about the conversations.
Absolutely.
If
you're right.
Focus on that, everything works itself out. So I know that we're going to talk a couple minutes after,
For sure.
but thank you again for being on the show. And again, people reach out to him. He's